They're wrong.
Oh,
Yeah. So, I'm sure some people watch them.
Just like people fishing for couples.
All right, guys, welcome to the Livewell here at Fish North, Georgia. We appreciate you spending your time with us this evening. Our goal is to bring you some of the personalities of the angling world here in North Georgia and help inform you to make your next down the water more successful. So if you're watching tonight on YouTube or at a later date on YouTube, make sure you subscribe and hit that bell to be notified of all of our future content. And give us a like, because that also helps with the algorithms and stuff like that. Make sure you leave us a comment so we can, of course, talk to you at a later date. If you're listening to this episode on iTunes or Spotify or any of our other podcast platforms, we appreciate your time. I'd also like to remind you that this episode of the Livewell is being recorded live. So from time to time, you're going to see some viewer questions pop up that we're going to ask our guest and everything. So we love the audience participation aspect of that, and we hope you will too. It makes for a better conversation. So make sure also to join us on Facebook at Fish North Georgia and on the Fish North Georgia group page. You can also find us at Instagram and TikTok at Fish North Georgia and on Twitter at Fish North GA. We also like to take a moment before we get started to thank our fine sponsors. If you're in the market to buy or sell your home in the North Georgia area, you need our friend Rachel Collins with 400homes.com. Give her a call. She's professional, she's detailed, she's honest. And that's just a few of the fine qualities that she has. Rachel possesses such a customer service and work ethic that, is superior, and it will make your experience smooth, easy. She covers North Georgia down to from the Tennessee line down to Alpharetta. Give her a call if you want the finest agent in North Georgia, 770-310-0599. You can email her at rachel@400homes.com and tell her that you heard about her from the guys here at Fish North Georgia. We'd also like to thank our fine sponsor, Buford Dam Bait and Tackle, located at 2595 Buford Dam Road. Well, they've got everything you need for striper and bass. This week we want to tell you about another aspect and products that they carry, and that's for trout fishing. Buford Dam in the Chattahoochee River is just right down from their shop. It's one of the more popular destinations for trout anglers in North Georgia. They have products like TNT, which is salmon eggs, stuff like that, all the way down to hand-tied flies that will help you have a more successful trip. So go in there, talk to Dave and the guys. They will get you set up with what you need and not sell you stuff that you don't need. Customer service is far superior to any of the places in that area, so definitely go check them guys out. Give them a call at 706-429-7211. Their store hours are Sunday through Friday, 5:30 to 7 p.m., Friday and Saturday, 5:30 to 8 p.m. And let Dave and the guys again know that you heard about them here at Fish North Georgia. So we want to thank Rachel and Dave and all those. And guys, if you're a local business, you're looking to help get your name out there, give us a call here at Fish North Georgia. Let's set you up on one of our many platforms and try to get your name and your business up there. You'll help us, and we will help you, and we'll build that community together. And so we've got a bunch of great viewers that are in your target area and in your target area is about the best way to say it like that. So, I mean, if you want the people that you need, hey, we'll help you get a hold of them. So tonight we got a great episode. Now, we got the guys from Backwoods Fishing on, and they've been on before, and we always enjoy it when Jeremy and Mickey come up. And, of course, we got Paul back finally from Wisconsin. You guys have noticed that he's been gone for a while. Paul's going to sit in here. That's right. And Ryan is running the board, so we'll do the best we can. With that, but I'm just giving Ryan a hard time. He's actually gotten very good at that. So a couple of quick comments before we get started. I want to say hey to everybody that's watching. John Aldred is watching from a kayak tonight, so he likes the new start time. Well, actually, we did that because you guys got to get up early in the morning. You got a trip coming. These guys got to go to work, and so we're trying to help accommodate them. But it might be something we think about, so definitely that. And Facebook user, if you're on Facebook and you're watching live as we record this, go to StreamYard.com/Facebook and enter your name so that when we see you in the comment section, we know your name and you don't come up as Facebook user. Reach out to Mountaineer Trout Fishing if you have any questions on trout TNT products. There you go, right there. So hey,
Trout TNT.
Trout TNT, and I'm
Available
actually.
of you for Dan Bait.
That's right. I'm going to look at getting them in the store here at Fish North Georgia as well. So
Outstanding.
it is outstanding, and I think we've got a lot of guys come in here looking for trout stuff, and it was definitely an eye opener to know how many trout guys there are. And that just talks about North Georgia in general. We've got pretty much anything and everything you can want to catch fish for here in North Georgia, from trout, stripers like you guys target, big lakes, small lakes, rivers, streams. We got it all. So definitely. So again, yeah, check them out over there, and look up TNT for some really cool products. And again, yeah, just like Paul said, Beaver Dam Bait Tackle is a current location for them. So
Yes, sir.
yes, that's what we love. And Paul is really fond of the guys at Beaver Dam Bait.
They're out there right down from the house.
Right down
They've,
from the house.
They sold me a lot of bait that's caught me a lot of fish.
That's
over that
right.
day.
And I'm gonna tell you, I'll go ahead real quick before we get started. Listen, that's one thing. They've sold Paul stuff that works. They're not gonna sell you stuff. You know, there's two types of baits in this world. There's baits that catch fish, and there's baits that catch anglers. Dave and the guys kind of have the same mentality we have here at Fish North Georgia. We're gonna try to give you what catches fish here and not what catches your eyes. So you can go into a lot of stores, see a lot of good looking stuff. Doesn't mean it works. Okay, that, you know, that dollar sign rules the day in some places. But anyway, one of the things that we're gonna do, we've had these guys on before. You got Jeremy Mullinax right here and Mickey Wheeler, and great personalities, both of them. This time I put Jeremy in the hot seat right across from me like that. But I still don't think it's going to deter Mickey any. Once he gets rolling, once Mickey gets rolling, you guys are going to enjoy the conversation and all that. We're going to try to get Jeremy to talk a little more tonight. And but
I think he's going to have some good stuff.
I think he is. We're going to have the juice. We're definitely going to have the juice, but something a little bit different from the last couple of times that they've been on. We're going to take a few minutes and get to know the guys, okay? Get to know, you know, who they are, what they're about, how they got their start in the fishing, because I think we all have that story as to, you know, who influenced us, what got us going and stuff like that. So I want to make sure that anybody watching tonight or listening in a future time got to make that connection with you two guys like that. I know you got great stories. Mickey's kind of from my neck of the woods, and you're not. You're from where are you from? Jasper. So you're a mountain boy.
Not far from here.
Not far from here, but you're South County. Yeah. That's where I kind of pretty much did all my raising and stuff like that. So we're gonna start with you, Jeremy, because I'm gonna make you talk first tonight. So let's get going with this. When did you first get that feeling that, you know, fishing is what you want to do? What was your first memory of fishing, and kind of how did that influence you to basically start working in the business?
Yeah, I guess it was probably around 2006.
And how old are you?
I'm 32.
Yeah, you're a young pup.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't even know how old I was then. Probably 15, 16, 17, somewhere in there.
Right.
I can't do math good,
But
yeah, 2006 is when really I first got started. And just like anybody else, I started as a hobby. Me and a friend of mine I went to high school with, Brandon Jenkins, we fished, you know, a lot of different places, just fun fishing. Never dreamed of guiding or, you know, doing it as a profession or anything. I helped my dad chicken farming. That's what I was doing at the time.
So you grew up working.
I grew up working. Yeah, we had 6 chicken houses, and that's what I did as a teenager. So I started out as a hobby, like I said, you know, and over the years, things progressed. I got to be friends with guys that was in the business. You know, they started asking me, you know, to come help them out, you know, in situations kind of like
they were guiding already,
right,
and stuff like that. Okay.
Right, and you know, they asked me to come help them out during the busy season. You know, when they're on some of their overflow, kind of like what Mickey and Lynn and Russ and those guys do for me now. And you know, once I started doing, I started it to help those guys out.
Mm-hmm.
Still never thought anything about this is what I'm going to end up doing. But as I started helping those guys, you know, I realized that it was something that I enjoyed. I was passionate about it, and if I worked hard enough, I could make a living. As Mickey can tell you, you know, you're not going to get rich, but you can make a living if you work hard.
That's a good, honest living.
Yeah.
And the name of your company is Backwoods Fishing.
Backwoods Fishing.
And who was your biggest influence, though, in those early days when you were first starting to fish and kind of figuring out, you know, it's a good hobby, I like it, I got an interest. Did you have an influence that really kind of steered you towards it a little bit?
Yeah, I guess my first influence would have been Robert Edison.
Okay, he's a local guy here on Allatoona and stuff like that here in the North Georgia area.
Yep.
Good guy.
Yeah, good guy. Been around for a long time. Robert's really the one that helped me, get my start. And when I quit working for him and started doing my own thing, he was very supportive in that, and he always has given me good advice, encouraged me. So hats off to him, because if it wasn't for him, helping me get my feet wet and get going at it, I probably wouldn't be doing what I'm doing today. But there's other guys too. I work for Jeff Blair, son.
Right. And he's a guy
on Lanier. Yeah, and then different ones, and obviously as times went on, me and Mickey has got to be close, and work well together. But oh man, really, I'm afraid I'll leave somebody out if I start naming names.
I understand that completely. Now, your basic business model is after stripers. So, at what point in your fishing development did the striper catch your eye and say, I like this fish?
Well, I've always kind of leaned more towards the saltwater type fishing. That's what I really enjoy doing the most. Over, I guess, what you guys do the most in bass fishing.
Right.
And up here, the closest thing we have to saltwater fishing is the striper fishing. The way we fish for them, the way they fight, everything. It is a saltwater fish.
It is.
So that's why we kind of turned our focus mainly towards stripers.
Okay. All right, Mickey. All right,
You're quiet.
He's quiet. We're gonna let Mickey. He's dying to talk.
Not in the hot seat.
You're not in the hot seat. So, all right, Mickey. Now you're. How old are you?
I'm 53 years
That's
old.
right. So you're more my age. So we're gonna relate to a lot of this. How did you get your start in the fishing?
Well, I've fished my entire life.
That's right. Yeah.
When you grow up in the 70s and 80s, camping was the ideal family thing to do.
Mm-hmm.
I can remember waking up at daylight and them having to bring my lunch and stuff to the pool, or not washing my hands, because I had worm guts all over
Right.
the fingers.
That's right.
But me and my dad, if I play sports and everything like that, but in our spare time we fished.
Mm-hmm.
And, we every chance we got. When I got up to school, he picked me up or something, or we take the boat and go crappie fishing. Was big over there at the time.
Right.
A lot of folks was into it, and then the white bass, when during April and dogwood started loading white bass, we go running, and that was just something else to catch. 3 or 4 pound white bass, which everybody said, ain't no way. I've caught them over 5 or bigger.
That's a big white bass.
They used to be that good. I don't know what happened to them. Maybe stripers or something. I don't know. Or water quality or something. But we were sitting over a little Hall Bridge one night, and, ultralight rod, and down there trying to catch a carpy, and caught a 12-pound striper. I had to untie the boat from the bridge. They said, cut your line, that's old carp or something like that,
Right.
I said, this ain't no carp, it's something different. We got him in the boat, and I've been up ever since. To me, it's all about the pool. I fished the Wednesday night bass tournaments, every bass tournament there was, enjoyed doing that for a little bit. But once you caught a big striper, I'm like Jeremy, I love to dig sea fish. And now I can't catch a fish big enough.
Right.
That's just my passion.
So would you say that your influence is basically based on family? So
To start off with, yes, and then, as I got older, and my friends, I wanted to cooperate them, and then I went straight from that to asking every question I could possibly ask.
Right.
And going to Hammond's, talking to folks at Hammond's and stuff like that. And the biggest thing is there's a learning process of everything.
Right.
And I took the school of hard knocks.
Mm-hmm.
Couldn't throw the net, so I learned how to throw the net,
To catch the bait.
to catch the bait. And back when Lanier was good, if you didn't have a 14, 15, 16 inch getter shad pulling in the spring in the fall, you wasn't fishing, in my opinion.
Right.
So, and then some buddies of mine that I love them with all my heart, Gary, and we just got to be buddies, and we started fishing, and we started fishing tournaments, and we actually, it used to be NSBA, National Striped Bass Association.
Okay.
And, we fished that for 2 or 3 years and done okay. Didn't do real good, done okay. We won some tournaments, lost some tournaments. That's
tournament
fishing.
That's
You know
right.
what I'm saying?
That's right.
And then we took a camping trip to Carter's. And I was out there pulling the way I fished one there. Everybody else was sitting tied up with lines out and everything. And I broke the planning boards out and everything. We caught. I've told you about this, but we caught monster fish after monster fish, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is a secret.
Right.
Let's not tell nobody.
It's not a secret no more.
But you know how it is.
Right.
But we moved to LJ, and I just started from there. I would guide. I never advertised very much. Put a few things on Facebook, and done stuff like that. And then me and Jeremy's got hooked up, and I bought a bigger boat, and that helped. But if I'm awake, I'm fishing. I mean, it's on my mind. You know what I'm
Absolutely.
saying?
Oh, I can believe it.
Anybody that don't understand that,
I believe that.
anybody that
100%.
don't understand that don't need to be a guide.
That's right.
And I'm always out there. I want to catch a bigger fish than I caught today. But what I've learned in guiding, it's more about having a good time and stuff like that.
Right.
I mean, you can get most fish in the world, but if you're I'm not going to say
If you're not a very nice human being.
Yeah, I mean, people not going to enjoy themselves.
Right, so it's
But
not
I
the
would
quality of
encourage-
the experience.
Yeah, and I encourage anybody. I started at a young age, and you can ask anybody that knows I love to fish. And, the topic.
It didn't look like much when I was driving in.
All right, we're back now.
All right.
Going up.
We're back. Sorry about
We
that.
apologize. Like I was telling you right before
We
we
got
went
hit by lightning.
We've got a very major thunderstorm going on right now outside, and of course, in our locale, the internet is not exactly the best, but it gets even worse when the rain comes on. So you guys just hang with us. We're gonna keep talking. We're gonna keep talking, and we're just gonna power right through that. And this might be very good for you guys on iTunes and Spotify that you don't have to see the screen going down and everything like that. But we apologize for all that. We're gonna keep going. I just asked Mickey the question when he started guiding on his own. What was one of the hardest lessons he had to learn? Stuff like that. So
Well, when you fish in tournaments and you're used to catching decent fish, there are certain ways that you do things.
right,
And you don't, it's like a school teacher or something like that. Jeremy can tell you, everybody knows on our boat, I have a speech, the very first thing when people get on my boat. You don't set the hooks. Wait till the rod goes down and bends down. Most of y'all are bass fishermen, okay?
we're crossing eyes.
You're crossing eyes.
That's
And I mean, I told Jeremy about 3 weeks
It's become like an everyday thing.
I think we're back again. Every time we get this big boom of thunder up here, Nathan Skinner, who's up here, says that outside it is raining sideways right now. So, we apologize. We do the best we can. Mother Nature is definitely taking its toll on us here tonight. But again, hey, we're going to keep going. We're going to keep working with it, and we'll figure it all out. Hopefully the storm will move off. So, Mickey just answered that question, and he was basically talking about having patience with people and teaching them patience and stuff. What about you? When you first got into guiding, what was the toughest lesson that you learned?
Yeah. Mickey was talking about his deal being family oriented. Mine really wasn't. Not that I wasn't close to my family. We did other things, but my family's not really what got me into fishing.
Right.
But now, I enjoy taking families. I had a guy text me the other day and just thanking me for taking him and his dad fishing. He said that ever since they went fishing, him and his dad has gotten closer and have started back fishing together, and it's helped their relationship. And I thought, that's why we do what we do. Or when a 7-8-year-old kid, reels in a 20-pound striper, it's worth everything that we have to go through to make that happen, to experience that with somebody else. But as far as the patience thing goes, some people are better with it than others.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
We have people that do different kinds of fishing, and we have to really work with those people to show them this is how, and you can tell people this is how we do it, but it's always better to show people this is how we do it, and it works. But you just have to listen and be patient, work with us, and we'll show you how we do things. It's completely different than bass fishing, and a lot of people have a hard time getting that out of their head.
Right.
But we see all kinds, don't we, Mickey? We have people that fish a lot, experienced anglers, to people that never been fishing before.
Right.
Kids that's never even held a rod and reel in their hand. So we've seen a
little bit of everything.
The good, bad, and the in between.
And the in between. And of course, when they're paying you for a service too, it puts the pressure on you to try to make
most stressful job you'll ever have.
It can be.
Actually, yeah, because you want to put them on fish, you want them to be successful, but there are days when it's tough like that. So I can't imagine the stress that's involved.
When you post pictures and you're trying to, generate business to make a living, people get high expectations.
Right.
And hopefully Jeremy and I've got a very good reputation. It's upsetting that we're not God. We can't just say fish, jump on that line. I wish I could.
Right.
We can't. And there's bad days on the water. There's bad days hunting. You have bad days at work. We do too. Hopefully by our experience, we can overcome some of the stuff that we face. But all said, I've told this a million times. The only thing you're doing by hiring a guy is he's on the water a whole lot more than you are.
Mm-hmm.
And you're increasing your odds to catch fish.
Yeah.
Jeremy was talking about, these kids. I actually last year had a man and woman bring their son, and he's 11, 12, 14 years old and never had fished. He said, I want you to teach my son to fish. I said, I can't do it in 5 hours.
Right. Right. But you can lay the foundation.
Well, I tried to, when I told Jeremy, I said, this is going to be a different day. I can't sit here and try to catch a striper. I got to try to fish.
Right.
So we try to catch some bass on live bait and stuff like that, and try to use the open faces, pitching, trying to do stuff to get him. Hopefully it installs something, but I just enjoy it. It's a passion. If I'm hunting, I enjoy my hunting. If I'm fishing, I enjoy my fishing.
That's right. I will say this, when we talk about you guys with people that come in and out of the store, we always say you guys are passionate about what you do. And so that's a good quality.
Oh, yeah.
If you're going to get somebody, you're going to hire somebody, they better like what they're doing.
Right.
Stuff like that. What's your worst experience? And you don't have to name names, but what's your worst experience as a guide out there?
Oh, man.
Being a customer, being, one of those type of people?
That's a tough one. You may have to let me think on that.
We'll jump on Mickey. I know Mickey got an answer
I'll
ready.
answer it for him because I know what he complains to me. Me and Jeremy talk. And if we have a bad day, we talk to one another. But a lot of times you get folks that get on the boat and they know more than we do.
And those are tough to
And
deal
they've
with.
never striper fished a day in their life, when our fish, anybody can tell you, whether it be Jeff Blair or anybody at the Nottely crew or anybody, I don't care where you're from, these fish can hit in a moment. I mean, just like that.
Right.
You can go from dead nothing to all of a sudden the school comes on the boat and every rod goes off. Okay? And a lot of people grew up like we done, where we sit there and held the rod with our hands, that's the biggest thing. People want to hold rods and sit there and move it up and down. These fish are so intelligent or got such good eyesight or something that, the least little bit things you're doing wrong can keep you from catching fish.
Right.
And, you get some of the old timers that think, well, I've done this all my life.
Right.
And it's different, and you just have to, you just have to sort of.
We're getting the head nod. We're getting the head nod from Jeremy.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, and going back a little bit, talking about what Mickey was talking about, we feel like Mickey said, we can't make the fish bite. But when we first started fishing Carters, there was really everybody kind of did their own thing. Nobody really talked or shared any information. But over the years, we learned that having our own network of guys like me and Mickey and Lynn and Russ and all of us working together and sharing information, it has helped us tremendously.
Right. Just that communication.
Mickey will vouch for this. But Mickey will vouch for this. The fishing's tougher now than it's ever been, and it's because there's more people fishing now than there's ever been. So that makes our job harder than it's ever been. So we have to try to look for things to have that advantage,
Right.
so that our customers will want to come and go with us. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
But anyway, as far as the bad experiences, I've had several. I don't know. I'm gonna have to weigh that one out.
We might come back.
There's
to
one
that.
of them I don't even want to talk about on here.
That bad.
It's that bad.
That's the one we want.
Yeah,
I know.
that's the one.
Folks are gonna be folks.
Right.
Did
You can go
we
to a
throw
restaurant.
rods overboard? Did we break stuff?
Well, I can tell you a story on Mickey though about a rod going over.
Oh yeah, sure can.
Yeah. Well, how did you tell it? Because you was there. You experienced it.
We got a good friend, Jason. Which I knew him, but I wasn't that close to him. And we was on school fish. Every rod was going off, and the customer that I had said, "You gonna have to help me catch fish." He wore out. And, these droppers will. Don't let nobody fool you. I've seen grown men say, "Man, that's tough."
Right.
So especially when you get them in deep water and they're oxygenated, they're feeling good. They dig. And it's the best thing in freshwater you could ever catch that you want to pull. Catfish.
Mickey,
tell
us about losing the rod, man.
Yeah,
We want the good stuff.
All right, I had to lead up to it. But anyway, I said, I'm not taking it. So anyway, he turned around and gave me the rod. He thought I had it. Okay, I did. It went straight underneath the water, right down the pole, and I jumped in. I didn't jump in, but I dove to try to catch my rod. It was gone. So he's calling every bait store in the company, he's feeling bad, trying to find me a rod and reel. Well, Jason, sitting maybe 75 yards to my left down there, he gets the fish on. And, I told this guy with me, I said, he ain't got fish. I said, something's going on with that. He reels up the line, okay?
Mickey's line.
It's my line, my rod.
And your fish.
And my fish. He thought he had the fish, but he actually caught my line.
Caught your line.
So he actually got my rod back and then fought the fish. And then I said, "You can have the fish. I just want my rod and reel back."
And with Carter's being such a deep lake, that's kind of lucky.
Yeah,
it was done. I don't know how it happened.
Well, I was by myself back in the spring, and I was just doing some checking, and I'm usually not fishing by myself. I usually got somebody with me. But I had a planer board to take off. And I grabbed the rod, start fighting the fish. And I really don't know what happened. It was wet, my hands was slimy from handling bait and stuff like that. And the rod, it just come out of my hand. One of my most expensive rods, And I was like, oh my God. Well, then I realized that the line's still clipped on my planer board. The fish is still on the other end of it. So I take off with my trolling motor, get over there where my planer board is, pick it up, get my line back, feed my line back up, took my rod and reel, got the rod and reel out of the water, landed the fish was still on there. And, but any other time that I've dropped the rod and reel, it's landing the
That
bottom of the
planer
card.
board saved you that.
That planer board saved. If it had been on a free line or anything else, it'd been gone.
I got you. Well,
We've had some, but as far as people, going out, I mean, I don't know about that. My worst experience, I don't even know if I can talk about it.
Well, you always got the scare of equipment failure. I've
We've
had a rough
experienced
year.
plenty of that. Like,
boats, we're talking boat motors and
Yeah.
stuff like
trolling
that.
motors, just,
I mean, when you're running wide open, everything's clicking like a thing, and all of a sudden the engine just shuts off. That's bad.
Yeah, generally it's
And
not
then
good.
you think you got the problem fixed. And the way things are now, I mean, I'll just tell you the whole story. I've been broke down twice in the last, month and a half.
and you got people looking at you like,
Yeah.
what are we gonna do now?
Yeah. And,
On the customers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
and I mean, Jeremy can tell you, I mean, I don't scam. I mean,
Right.
when you fish every day, you got to have everything in order. But stuff happens.
It does.
Boat stands for, bring on another 1,000.
Exactly.
But my high pressure fuel pump went out, and I tried to find one. So they were telling us 3 or 4 weeks. Well, we're booked, and so I bought an aftermarket one to try to get me through. It lasted 2 trips, and then but I got it fixed now. But I'm just telling you, you just never know.
You don't. In fact, Ryan and I went up to Carter's fish a little tournament for a little live thing, and he backed the boat off the trailer. And before I had got back from parking the truck down there, I see a look on his face like something's wrong. He had coal pack go out,
Yeah.
and all that.
And I don't give you
Trolling
no
motor that
warning,
day.
Uh,
No, it's not going to tell you how to get ready to break, get another one.
Yeah.
It never
I
happens.
mean, I've had my fair share of bad luck and breakdowns.
Yeah.
I've had a lot of bad luck with my trolling motor. And speaking of that, I want to thank the guys at Forsyth Marine, Jeremy Day. They've been a great help to me. I'll throw that plug in there.
That's fine. Yeah, absolutely.
But anyway, I've dealt with all the trolling motor issues, and I get all that sorted out. I'm hooked up, head to the lake one morning about 3:30, and the lady pulls out in front of me and messed my truck up. Missed my trip that day, and so it's just. I got fairly new stuff, 2 or 3 years old, my trolling motor stuff's still gonna go wrong.
Right.
You have to overcome all those things and just push through the best you can. And but Mickey's right. I mean, there's times where it's stressful. You got stuff breaking down. You got fish ain't biting. You got people looking at you like, well, I'm paying here. What's going on?
Right.
But at the end of the day, you do the best you can do with what's given to you and make the best of it, man. And I think everybody that goes with us knows that we work hard and we try our best to put people on fish, try our best to get them to bite and get that fish in the boat, get them a picture with it. Sometimes it works out, sometimes it don't. But most people that fish enough, they know
Yeah.
that's just.
Oh, absolutely. And you're a small businessman. And
I'm honest. I'm probably too honest. I probably lost trips because people will call and they'll ask questions, and I'm honest about it. If the fishing's hit or miss, if it's good one day and bad the next day, it's hit or miss. I'm not going to try to make it something it's not. And like Mickey was talking about building people's expectations up. I try to teach people, the truth of it.
Yeah.
And how it really is, the reality of it.
that's it. Because you see all these YouTube videos where the guys just post their catches. And then
Smash.
the smash,
Every day,
good
every
stuff.
trip.
That's right.
You put in the time, you're gonna see the good and the bad.
Oh, that's exactly right.
This is the thing. I mean, you might have a group that gets on there and they just enjoy the day and they understand. And you catch 2 or 3 fish and you're the best thing since sliced bread. You understand what I'm saying?
I
And then I've had days
I've been
out there-
sliced bread a time or two, a time or two in my
But
life.
I've had days out there where we actually done really, really good, and people didn't know how good a day we had. A couple weeks ago, I think I told Jeremy we caught 6 or 7 whitefish, and the smallest one was like 18 pounds. I caught one that was 26 something. And we got off the
Good
boat,
night.
listen now. We got off the boat. He said, "Well, I wish we could have got one more." And I said,
Well,
"That's me thankful."
Well,
but-
I mean, I'm like that.
Every fisherman wants
but-
one more.
yeah, but-
I can't ever be satisfied.
No, I'm not saying satisfied, but I'm telling y'all, in the world that we're living now, as far as the whitefish go, okay, you can look around. I grew up when you was scared to throw same time you did, you know, you're hearing all these old timers going out there throwing plugs and catching 40-pounders.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Lanier was like the premier lake. And you go to, you know, when we fish in tournaments, if you didn't have a 25-pounder or more, I mean, 2 of them, you
Right.
didn't go to the weigh-in, you know. And now we're living in times where, you know, Lanier's got the gill maggots, and, you know, there is a quantity of fish if you can get on the schools and catch the smaller fish, but there's no monster fish. And that's
How
one
that
thing.
gonna say there's no
Well, no, I'm
Yeah.
not saying no monster fish. Now, don't get me wrong, because they're.
It's
we
just
talked
not
about
like
this
it
other-
used to be.
It's not
Yeah.
like it
But
used
that's
to be.
everywhere, Mickey. I mean, I talk
But
to guys.
not,
I talk to
we
guys.
still can catch 20-pounders consistently.
Yeah, I mean, you know, yeah, I'll agree with that. But it's, I mean, everybody you talk to at all these lakes will say it ain't what it used to be. It ain't what it used to be. I mean, only thing it's one of 2 things. It's either water quality or it's pressure.
I would think pressure would
A little
help.
bit of
Yeah,
Well,
both.
anybody that knows Lanier knows there's pressure on Lanier.
Yeah.
So,
Paul, how about reading? We got a viewer question right there, Jeremiah's question. Let these guys answer that right there.
We got a couple of them.
Yeah, let's
See, this is always an interesting one anytime you troll because you cover so much water. How much bycatch do you guys get while you're trolling for stripers? And I would say what kind?
How much water?
bycatch like other species.
Other species, bass, catfish.
When you're trolling,
white
you kind
bass.
of mentioned.
Well-
Tell everybody what you told me before about the spot.
Oh yeah, we caught a spot yesterday at 70 foot of water on down line. It come up from I had a bait set about 50 foot, and I seen a fish come up off the bottom like the stripers and the hybrids do, and that's what I was figuring it was going to be. The rod went down pretty hard. It was like almost 5-pound spotted bass, 70 foot of water
70 foot of water, and one of the reasons for those that
on the bottom.
aren't familiar with Carter's Lake, because it is a pump back lake, I guess, for electricity, as a re-rate lake, so they pump out, pump back in, all that. It does not have a thermocline.
not at all.
I've
It's
never
different
seen
than
it.
a lot of lakes.
I've never seen a thermocline set up.
I've fished it for over 20 years, and I've never seen a thundercline set up.
How about catfish?
Oh, we catch some big ones.
Yeah, we catch catfish.
I bet you do. What's the biggest catch you caught here recently? Just recently.
Well, last year I caught 26 or
Last year.
something.
That
Last
ain't
year.
recent.
We caught some blues.
Get him, Jeremy.
We
Get him,
we
Jeremy.
caught some blues this year. I don't know where they come from. They started showing up. I've never caught a blue till the last couple of years. We caught some pretty decent sized blues. My last trip, we caught 2 that was probably over 10 pounds. And we catch several channel cats at 5 to 6 pounds. But every now and then you'll get a
Yeah, we
really
catch
big.
I don't know if he's talking about trolling live bait or
Right.
trolling like artificial
I
stuff.
probably I would
Live
say
bait.
live bait.
Oh,
Yeah.
when you
Like
live
there
bait,
is
you
just
catch
Slow trolling, like
anything.
pulling boards.
Well, and I'll say this, and this is what I tell customers: this is what we're gonna catch. I say whatever's biting bass that day, because we're live bait fishing 90% of the time, and there's nothing in Carter's Lake that we haven't caught on a live bait at some point in time. I've caught a carp on a live bait. I've caught
That's interesting.
I've caught catfish, like I said, blue cats, channel cats, flatheads,
Flatheads.
stripers, hybrids, walleye, spotted bass. Lynn caught a perch the other day. I didn't even know there was perch in there. We have been catching rainbow trout on
On live bait.
Last year we caught
Really?
a bunch of them, but this year we had caught that.
We
many.
caught almost a 6-pound rainbow trout on live bait, trolling for stripers.
That is
Yeah, I
impressive.
got some pictures.
That's
Pull,
spicy too.
yeah,
That's
pull
a
that one
good
up right
catch.
for Paul right there. That question.
Oh, you're leading right up. How would y'all suggest fishing when it's summertime?
Deep.
Deep.
And then is that just Carter's or is that in general?
Well,
Well, it's different. I mean, Lake Lanier, they got that thermocline, and the thing is, you got to put if you want to keep your bait alive very long, you got to put it in that thermocline, as you know. If you get it, if you drop it down deep,
Let's explain the thermocline.
Okay.
Just
Yeah,
Quick
go
and-
ahead
quick
and
and
explain
dirty.
to somebody what a thermocline is.
well, there's other people that probably could explain it better than I can because I fish on a lake where there's
Well,
not a
okay,
thermocline.
I see.
But
pour cold water and warm water meet, and it's
there's a layer
in
of
my
water there.
opinion, it's the most oxygenated water. These fish are always going to be in the best water they can possibly
Right.
be in. These fish don't like bad water. And when I say bad, I mean, like on Lanier, Nottely and everything, there's bad water. Okay, there's bad water above that thermocline that you're not going to catch a fish.
Nottely right now, if you don't put your bait at 25, 30 foot, it will not live. If If you go deeper, it's dead. If you keep it up above that, it's dead.
That's because of thermocline.
Yeah,
That's because of that
so,
thermocline. And the fish you'll see them on the graph, man. They'll be stacked up in that thermocline.
all right, so basically for those that don't know, so the lake, let's just take the summertime. The cooler water is down low, the warmer water is up top, and that little area in between with those two meet, that's basically what we'll set up as a thermocline. And then probably twice a year, most of your lakes that have a thermocline will flip to where, like, when we get into the cooler fall nights,
And that's a tough transition.
it is a tough transition, and that water cools, that upper layer that's been hot cools, eventually it gets colder than the water below, and it will flip. That water from the bottom will come up.
Well,
That's
our
when the lake
lake
turns
But
over.
the top layer
We
is sand.
still
Top layer
flip,
sinks.
and
We don't-
I think it's got more to do with the cold weather in the summertime and the pattern changes.
Gotcha.
The tough thing about Carter's is we have no thermocline. So where in some lakes where you have a thermocline, there's no doubt where you're gonna put your bait at. There's only one place you can put it to keep it alive. But Carter's is different. You can pull up on a point right now, 60, 70 foot bottom, and drop a bait down to the bottom and catch a fish right now. You might even pull out.
I think that's crazy.
There was
It's
fish.
so deep.
You think that's crazy? Wait till I tell you what I'm fixing to tell you. Lynn caught a striper today in 180 foot of water out over the top of the standing timber.
Now tell everybody real quick how deep Carter's is, because we keep talking deep on Carter's.
Well, it's the deepest part's 460, around 460.
It is one of, if not the deepest lake.
I think it's
Side of
It's
the
the
It's
deepest
like in Georgia.
It's the deepest.
Definitely
Oh,
that.
by
Sure,
far.
for
No,
sure.
it's like,
It's definitely
there's only about one or two that's even deeper.
Shouting distance.
It's the deepest reservoir lake this side of Mississippi.
This side of Mississippi in the United States. So, and so when you're talking, a lot
What
of
is it kind of on average?
Oh, it's
Oh,
pretty
you
deep.
can, man,
That river
you can
channel's
find
very
any
I
depth
mean,
of
out in
water
the
that you wanna
channels,
find.
out in the channels, like in the creek
200,
channels.
250 probably.
Yeah.
Is that not insane? Just being out there and it looks like Lake Lanier where you normally
Okay,
have 40
yeah.
feet
And you
foot.
talked about the good and the bad. Well, anytime you got that there, okay, Nottely, I mean, they might have 100 foot if they're lucky.
Right.
You know, Lanier's got several hundred feet, but you don't really worry about them. On there, you look for the trees, and then you look for clean bottom, and you try to fish in between the trees and the clean bottom.
The trees are the stand timber. A lot of people don't even know that there's that much the stand timber in Carter, but it's our worst nightmare this time of year. Make it deep. The fish like to hold close to that stand timber this time of year deep.
And you're trying to get a bait down.
Well, you're
We're-
going
we're-
down
we're
right at the top
fishing.
of the trees, and
You got to get him out of there.
Well, the
We're
thing
fishing.
is, if you lock your drag down, it's over before it gets started. Okay, because you're not gonna get a bite with heavy fluorocarbon. It's not gonna happen. That's where most people mess
We-
up.
we-
What do y'all typically fish with?
As far as
What's your usual setup?
Well,
No,
I'm
I
pound.
mean, are you like a
Pound test.
Yeah, like I know when I fish stripers,
Sometimes.
usually I'm 20 pounds.
Well, I want to go heavy. I mean, I would love to catch every fish that bites, but you just can't do it.
Well,
And
as
be
far as-
successful.
I mean, I feel like I found that good, that happy medium there. You can't go too heavy in the clear water. You won't get many bites. You don't want to use 20, 30 pound test on a bait that big.
Yeah.
You
Well,
know,
you mess up the
generally-
way he moves then
Yeah,
too.
exactly.
That's a good point.
Yeah, generally this time of year, I use 15 pound mainline mono and a 12 pound fluorocarbon leader.
Really?
Yes. And, we've got tricks and things that we do to try to help get them fish out away from those trees when we hook up to them. But I don't know. Y'all may not want me to get in all that. You book a trip and we show you how to.
Well, listen, absolutely. Here's a comment from a Facebook user. We have been catching them spots on Carter's at 80 feet deep on spoons in 120 foot of water.
Yes,
Absolutely.
sir.
Yeah.
Now, I will tell you this, because the majority of us guys that fish, Lanier, Altitude, and stuff like that, that is mind-boggling deep, especially for a spotted bass. And so that's I think that's another thing too that makes Carter's kind of special, that you
Well,
can do that.
Yeah, and it's changed over the years, as we've talked about on this show before.
That's
The
right.
fish are deeper now than they've ever been.
And why do you think that is?
It's the hair.
Like,
It's
The herring.
it's
We're
the
gonna get into
alewives.
them alewives.
It's the
I know-
alewives. Every time
I know
they
we're
get
gonna
brought-
do that.
Hey, I was gonna try not to bring them up tonight.
That's all right. We can talk about it.
Well, it's funny because I got a story I'm going to have to tell you. about alewives.
Okay, yeah, so
It's controlled. It controls what we do. It controls the fish.
Ryan, you may tell him.
Yeah,
So Ryan was talking to a gentleman that come in the store.
you can talk about the ultimate tongue bite.
Yeah, listen, and he was saying that they're not alewives, correct?
Yeah,
Am I correct that that's and we're Ryan?
yeah, they're herring.
They're
Yeah,
herring. They're not alewives, and Ryan was like,
an LY is a herring.
it is a herring.
Yeah,
This
it's
guy,
a different type
it's
of
a cousin to the blueback, but this guy was convinced. And I mean, he was an older gentleman, and you know how older gentlemen get, you know, in their ways a little bit. I'm not pointing Mickey or nothing like that.
I'll be honest.
But
If you were to take an alewife and put him right next to a blueback,
they're very.
for 99% of people,
I believe I can tell the difference.
You could.
I can tell
You
this
could.
because we see them.
You
every
could.
day.
well, let him finish his story because this is what the guy was talking about with his draft, and I told the guy I was like, "No, that's not what you're seeing." But he told me I was an idiot, basically, to
He
my
did.
face.
He basically, right? Just basically, we had basically that customer that kind of knows more. You know what I'm saying? That you kind of mentioned that
a little bit of know better.
A little bit knows a little bit more, but listening to Ryan, I wish I had a microphone on him where it would come in clean, and you could hear him. But Ryan was like, "You got this guy right there." He just could not believe. Ryan was like, "No, it's no wives and stuff like that." And this guy just had nothing to do with it. You know, he couldn't believe that. We're going to talk about that, so because I mean that is Carter's like that. So we're definitely going to talk
They're here
about
to
it.
stay. They're not.
I want to make sure I haven't missed any of the questions right there. So I think we got them all. And we're caught up with that. Let's kind of, we haven't had you guys on in a while though. So let's talk about spring going into summer. How was it on Carter's for you this spring? Because around here and on a lot of the lakes that we've been, you know, the people we're talking to, this year was a different type of year.
Weird.
Behind.
It was very behind. It was weird. That's a good way to describe it. The top water bite on Lanier did not happen when it should have happened. The spawn kind of went. Ryan and I saw largemouth bass spawning still in June. You know, on Lanier, and generally, you know, it happened everywhere else. It's just weird things this year. So on Carter's for you guys, something similar? Or?
Yeah, it's the same way. I mean, really, by the time I feel like our spring bite got started, it was already starting to transition into summer.
That sounds about right.
And
For
I mean,
everybody.
that was-
Yeah.
Well, I done a trip in April, and I told Jeremy, I said, it's gonna be that calling for snow tomorrow. And the folks wanted to fish. We got on fish, man, we catch fish, start snowing. They was freezing to death, they wasn't dressed for it. But that was in mid-April or something.
To me, the last couple of years.
That was my birthday.
Yeah.
That's right. It
Snow-
was.
Yeah, my birthday.
It was blue. I mean, we've been catching fish, you know.
Stripers love that weather though.
Well, sometimes they do, man. The sudden changes is what hurts the fishing. I'm a firm believer. If you have a sudden change all of a sudden, it just.
Well,
We had that weather in January. Well, it was mild through January. Then we had that cold snap in 2-3 weeks.
We're
Yeah.
catching fish on
It
top
just-
water.
To me, it felt like it was winter to summer.
Yep.
And then summer to winter. It's like the spring and fall the last couple of years, we just ain't had much of it.
Right.
It's just been a 2 or 3 week deal. And that's about it, which sucks because that's my favorite time of the year and it don't
Exactly.
last long enough.
Anybody don't like to pull big baits is not a striper fisher.
Okay.
You know, that's just the way. There's nothing like seeing a 25 or 30 pound striper come up and hail a
It's a new viewer.
gizzards.
Got a new name in our viewers tonight. NG Fish Maniac.
NJ.
NJ. Good Lord, Danny. It's been a
He
long
said,
day.
"Yo, Jersey cat."
Jersey Cat. So yeah, yo Jersey Cat. So NJ Fishing Maniac.
That's
We
a
appreciate
slug.
it.
Look at that.
I want to try that one time.
51-pound striper off the surf 3 years ago.
Oh yeah.
Now, Carter's, to me right now, and you guys correct me if I'm wrong, at least as far as North Georgia, right now, it's probably the, you know, I know you said fishing's down, but it's still probably the premier destination to catch a trophy. Wouldn't you say so in North
Yeah.
Georgia?
I mean,
Well,
it
everybody's
depends.
trophy's different.
It depends.
Well,
That's
yeah.
exactly what it depends on what you consider a trophy.
Well, let's say 40-pound plus fish. If you
You're
have
not
one
gonna
lake,
You
catch
ain't
it
gonna
on
catch a
Carter's.
40 at Carter.
and
But you
that used to be possible.
The lake record's 36.5.
Really? So Lanier had the big ones, and then now Lanier's gone down.
Lanier, Nottely had big fish.
For some
Okay.
reason,
Okay. Anybody that fished Nottely in the last 3 or 4 years can tell you. Okay. They get bad water. Where it coming from, I don't know. But they had 2 years ago they had a major fish die off.
Okay.
That lake does not generate oxygen very well. So therefore, anybody's been Nottely knows the oxygen lines they put in there to hell. Okay, well they was late getting it on or whatever, you know.
They still never cut it on.
The core never.
This summer.
It ain't on now. The core never owned up to it, but I mean, we went up there on the trip and there's fish floating everywhere. You know,
Oh, they had a big fish kill up there 3 or 4 years ago.
and most people don't realize what we're catching is probably a 20-year-old fish.
Could be 15
I
to
mean,
20.
you know, so
Stripers live that long.
yeah.
But I'll say I don't really understand why, but it seems like the stripers kind of top out at quarters, you know, between that 25 to 30 pound range. Every now and then you get one over 30. I seen a fish one time that was probably close to 40, but
Well, I've caught
I-
one,
I
but
bet-
it wasn't 40.
yeah,
know?
it was.
I mean,
You caught a mid-high 30-pound fish. We caught a 32-pounder back in April this year.
But do you
But-
think it's more consistent,
Yes,
those size
I mean,
fish than any
on
other
a
lake?
day-
that's the only lake you can go to in the southeast or in Georgia
North
without
Georgia.
going to
North
Tennessee.
Georgia, yeah.
Without going to Tennessee.
And have a
without,
chance at 15, 20,
Yeah.
25-pound fish on a day-to-day basis.
Okay.
Yeah. I
And
mean,
why, do you
that's,
and why do you think that is? Is it the
They
bait?
gill maggots on Lanier and the bad water and Nottely. No, Lanier, if Lanier water and the gill maggots hadn't got Lanier, we'd probably be talking about 50 plus droppers.
well,
I really think
here's
it
the
was,
difference, Mickey. You got Lanier gets a lot more stripers stocked in it than what we do.
Oh,
You know,
yeah.
that's why their numbers are better. We don't get as many, but we have bigger fish.
Okay.
And that's what I tell them.
I
That's what
don't
have
think
to
we
tell
get enough fish. We got on this conversation every time we've been on here.
I know, we can do it again. It's all
But the
right.
bait situation on Carter's is just unreal.
Too much.
Oh yeah.
I don't think it bigger than.
How much-
Yeah, it just
how
don't
much
make no
can you eat?
sense.
You know what I'm saying?
The
How
only
much
thing
can
I
you eat?
can
Yeah.
tell you this is it's.
Oh well, it's
we-
too. You get how much energy.
We
it's
have
gonna
a
use
we
to
get an
chase the
Atlantic
tailwaters.
strand. We get an Atlantic strand striper, what they call it.
Okay.
Tennessee gets a Gulf strand of stripers.
And there is a difference.
It's a
Oh yeah, our fish are souped up wildcats. I mean, really, truly.
I ain't never heard it put like that.
Souped up wildcat.
You ask anybody
Souped up. I like it.
I got a bunch of friends, Troy and Skipper. I mean, we fished all 3 lakes for years. Okay, there's nothing like Carter's Lake striper in that 18 to 25 pound class that will fight. They just won't do it nowhere else. But you get one of them on Carter's, it's going to fight. I don't know if it's the deep water or the
The
different-
fish, they're
the different
healthy.
strand
They
of
got
fish.
plenty to eat. They're healthy, but it just seems like they top out at that 25, 30.
Do you think that could be due to the size of the lake?
I don't think so.
It is a smaller lake compared to.
I mean,
if
I
stripers
look-
was
I
like
look-
me and you, they'd weigh 500 pounds in Carter's.
Well,
I
that's
look,
probably right.
I look at Tennessee.
Yep.
You know, it's probably the best striper fishery in the world, in my opinion, that I've been to, that I've experienced.
I agree with that.
And it's look at all the moving water. It's one big river, pretty much. Not only that, but they have a different strand of stripers, which I feel like probably has something to do with it as well.
The skip.
The skipjack. I mean, them fish feed on them skipjack. You know, it's maybe it is something to do with it, with the lake being smaller. Maybe it don't have a big enough river system to support what they need to grow bigger. I don't know. But I do know that there's nowhere else that we can go on a day-to-day basis and have a chance at a 15, 20, 25 pound striper. And to most of our customers, that's a big
That's
fish.
a
Well,
big
now
fish,
they come,
absolutely.
they go on Lanier and catching 10,
10,
12
10,
pounders, you know,
that's
30 to
nice.
34-inch fish, and then they're going Nottely, and, you know, it's about the same.
We've caught some big fish out of, and I actually got to fish a couple of striper tournaments at Lanier this year, and you know we caught some close to 30-inch stripers, which was good. You know, I mean they're not monsters, but they're good fish. You know, I feel like Lanier's starting to come back a little bit. It's just there again.
I'm seeing less and less dead this year.
Yeah.
It's I feel like it's coming back. It's just the pressure, and you're not going to change that.
Right.
So I don't feel like there are so many guys. Ryan was mentioning he hasn't seen as many floaters on the mirror this year. I don't think there's so many guys lead coring.
Well, there's education that's coming
Yeah.
on with a lot of these.
There's a
fishermen.
lot less guys lead coring.
2 years ago, it wasn't uncommon for us to run down the lake in a tournament, in a bass tournament, and count them, especially in like July.
Well,
Well,
It's like we don't. Do you guys power reel on cars at all?
oh,
Like,
yeah. If we can, we'll do everything we can to catch fish.
that's
I mean, it just don't work as well.
Does it work
At times.
at times? It's got its.
we've seen it work. I've been reeling up to move because I've been marking fish and been trying everything and they're not biting, and I reel up to move, bam, one hooks up. So, but you might do that 10 times after that, and
I've done it
Strike
for
out.
half a
Not
point,
trigger one.
you know.
Yeah.
We like to throw the big spoons. We like to, do everything when they're done. And
I think-
all these other lakes.
it's
For
still strong. I mean,
Lanier,
it's-
I think that's part of why we lost
it's-
a lot of fish. It's just
yeah,
The leg core and all that.
leg coring and a lot of guys reeling those spoons that weren't really equipped to release those fish safely.
What's
When you
leg
catching
coring?
fish, and y'all mainly said y'all seen them in the summertime, when you catching fish in these deep water, and they're gonna stress,
Yeah.
Jeremy wanted to
Yeah.
bring it tonight. We went
Explain
off
leg
of it, but
coring
it's called-
to someone
it's
who
I meant
doesn't
bring my
know.
head.
I heard you.
It's called venting, and, I don't know how they do it on the
Oh,
net.
that's
bass
snap.
people call it fizzing,
Oh, that's
Yeah.
snap.
but it's, we do it a little bit different than the bass people do.
Right.
We go in to the side of the striper behind that side fin.
And the bladder.
Yeah, we go in their swim bladder from the side. I use a turkey baster needle that you can buy at a grocery store.
Okay.
The reason I use that is because it had the holes on the needle are on the side, not, so it doesn't get stopped up. But you can go under the scale and down into the bladder, and you hear that air come out of there. I mean, it'll come out. It's like you punctured a tire.
Now, do you do that with the fish out of the water or in the water?
Well-
I do it within the water so I can see the bubbles. I hold
You
it
looking for the
underneath the
bubbles,
water,
yeah.
and then
I mean,
when
sometimes
that
I'll
thing quit bubbling, I'll let it go.
Sometimes I'll put the needle in it. It's
Lost
hard to
all
press
that.
down on it with it in the water. Sometimes I'll lay it up on the boat, put the needle in it, then set the fish back down. I've been putting them in my bait tank. That's something we mentioned earlier.
Yeah.
Because
Let's talk about that.
yeah, I mean, I have to keep my water in my bait tank cold, for my bait. And the salt, I have salt in my bait
I
tank.
hear
It's not bad on the stripers either. It's good if anything. So if I'm trying to vent that fish, I'll put the needle in it and set it down in the bait tank. And when them bubbles quit, I'll pull the needle out, put the fish in the water, be straight back down. If I had a guy the other day that killed a striper, it wouldn't go back down. We've talked about this before, but I'm not going to say venting. I'm not going to say that it doesn't kill some fish. I'm not going to say they all live. Some of them's going to die from the stress of it. But if we have people that don't want to keep fish, we're not going to leave a bunch of fish floating out there.
Right.
So let's get the air out of them, because I see them sitting there breathing on the surface. They just can't go back down. They got air in their bladder.
They swim around in circles and
Yeah.
it'll be like,
And
the
and
belly
if,
poking up and eventually they die.
and if they stay on that surface in that hot water long, they're definitely not going to make it. So
I've caught fish that's
Get that-
been vented before.
get the air out of them.
We both have.
Yeah, we've caught fish that have the scar right there behind that fin where you can tell where somebody
Somebody felt that
has
fish.
been, but a lot of people don't know nothing about it. And
I
they'll be over there
actually-
trying to get the fish to go back down, and it will not go down.
Mhm.
Yeah, I actually had 2 veterinarians in the last 3 weeks. That we've been vetting for a while. He said, I can get you a better needle. I said, well, the hole don't have to be, it can't be in the front, If we
That's
could
good.
find out with a smaller needle that would do as good as the turkey baster, it would be even better. But the whole principle is getting that swim bladder so them fish can get back down there where they need to be.
So with the
There's a tool called a sequelizer too,
Yeah.
that some people have used, and it's just like a thing. It's almost like a little rod and reel. It's got a big, like a downrigger weight on it, and you hook the fish to it and you drop it down with that weight, and something about the drop of that thing will release the air in its bladder and let the fish go. I know some guys that's had them, but it's kind of the process. It's easier, quicker for me to use the needle and get the air out of them.
And
I've
when
heard
we,
some that do both.
well, when we vent, I can actually see that fish swim off. I mean, he's nose down. I'm watching him all the way down on my depth finder, and I mean, he's,
But see, Carter's is different. Like, our water quality is probably better than other lakes, even in that 80-something degree water. So that might not be as effective at Lanier.
it may not be.
Because once you pull them up through that water that has no oxygen in it, them fish may not make it.
Well, this
They're
is
probably not going to make it.
Venting is nothing new. When we used to have the NSBA tournaments, everybody brought fish in, okay? And you try to keep them alive, but we kill fish. I mean, you fishing all day and you trying to keep 2 big stripers alive, it's just, most of the time it's not going to happen. But I have actually seen, we was on Hartwell, not Hart Hill, and I've actually seen a 44-pound striper up in a swimming pool and bend it and swim around and haul back and turn loose. I mean, That's pretty good.
Very interesting there. I think that's something.
They used to set the swimming pools up at the end of it, be this big tank, and they'd run off through it, and everybody, when you come to the weigh-in, I mean, you put your fish, after you weigh in, you put your fish in there, and they try to save them.
They're tough, but they just don't like the hot water.
Now, everybody, I think that, you know, I probably wouldn't fish tournaments no more. I mean, I enjoy it, I'm competitive, but, you have to buy, most of it.
We're gonna bring him out of retirement. He don't even-
If
he
you
don't
put,
even
if
know
you
he's
put
fishing.
tubes in or something to keep them big fish alive, you know, like they do the tuna things, you know, when they're fishing for the big marlins, they've got them actually on boats. But, I mean,
Well, they're doing striper tournaments a lot different now than they used to.
well, they're doing inches and
They,
stuff like
they do
that.
it by,
yeah.
by length, and you put it on the board. They give you a number that morning, you lay it on
Very
the board.
similar to
like
kayak, guys. That's
Yep.
yeah. Very
And,
similar.
you know, I mean, I like it. I think in the summertime, it's not a good time to have a striper tournament because if you do all that, putting it on the board and all that stuff, you know, it's probably
For
not.
y'all, you benefit from doing kind of the digital the way that Hammond's is,
Yeah, have you heard about that?
where they've got the like remote scale
Mm-hmm.
that everybody gets a certified scale of.
Okay.
And you video yourself weighing the
Weighing the
fish,
fish. I like
and
that.
then you upload that to a website.
Well, how are they,
Um,
I mean, like with ours, you know, if there's gonna be competitive things, somebody's gonna cheat.
Well,
understand
Well, it eliminates cheating.
Well, like that's the reason we done the card, because you never knew what card you was gonna get or what number you was gonna get till that morning. So if
But
you
I
had,
like that. I like
But I mean,
what
you
he
can,
said.
you can have that card to show in your video or
yeah.
whatnot.
So what it would, the way it eliminates the cheating. Now, there's always the possibility because the scales do not open before whatever time because it's all on the app and everything. So let's just say 7:00, and then at that point your scales. That's when you're allowed to start uploading videos. Yeah, you always have that possibility that people fishing beforehand because you get the scales and you can already go blast. There's no blast off. So once you pick your scales up at whatever location, you take off
Yep.
and you can be on the lake. You can be, I mean, technically, if you're dishonest, you can be fishing. You can have fish in your live well, and that's always, you're right. That's always a possibility. But let's say everybody is honest up to that point, then you have to basically, like Paul said, show the scale with 0, show the fish being weighed, and then actually showing the fish being released. That's all caught on video, and then you upload it, and then you have the people who are monitoring that, and they'll either certify the weight or say, hey, you did something wrong, something like that. You're right. In every competitive thing, it's always
Well,
possible.
the way we do-
It's pretty cool.
The way we do when we weigh in our measurements, we pull our pictures up on our phone.
Yeah.
And on all these phones, you can see the date and the time that the fish was caught
Right.
and all that.
I mean, you can pull the data too.
So that can,
where
you know,
it was
I don't-
caught.
Yeah.
So I mean, that could be a reassurance, I guess. you know,
Yeah, and what it does eliminate is putting that fish in a live well,
Appreciate
trying to keep it alive because you release it right then and there.
Yeah.
And so it's actually, Lanier, right now is kind of, I won't say the epicenter, but at least among the
it
groups.
always
we-
has been.
Yeah, that's where, the guys
Straws
at
upstairs and
Hammond's, that's right, that's exactly right. The guys at Hammond's and Oakwood, they go from, we did a benefit tournament, and the biggest problem is not cheap. The biggest problem is getting these guys with the flip phones that, they still have the old phones and can't figure out how to upload a video. That's the biggest problem.
I
But
got a phone, but I still have trouble.
but
That's the reason he handles all the business.
I understand, but Paul brings up a good point. That actually would be very good for striper
Yeah.
tournaments, I think.
I think it would fit nicely with what
Yeah.
they want to do.
Yeah, I do too, man. I haven't really
Well,
heard.
there's
anything
nothing
good.
more, the reason you fish tournaments and stuff like that, because you want to see how you rank. You want to see where you're at with all the other guys.
Everybody wants to know, and anybody that says they don't want to know,
You ain't a fisherman,
they lying.
bro.
Paul's
Me and
right.
Jeremy's partners and everything. We share all the information, but I want to beat him every day,
And
and
that's
he
a
wants
good
to
comment.
beat me.
I'm the same way with Ryan. When I fish in the club tournament against Ryan, I'm like, I don't care if I win, I just want to beat Ryan.
Yeah.
I mean, seriously, the reason I say that is because he's a standard.
Right.
He's a standard, I say, because he's a good angler, and I want to beat Ryan.
Right.
And then, and I deal with there's some electric only tournaments that we have that there's certain guys, winning would be nice, but if I could compete with that guy today, I've had a good day. So you're right. You want to know where you rank up with people like that and stuff like that. So it's excellent. But the striper tournament thing, how prevalent is that compared to bass tournaments around here in the South? I mean, is it pretty big? It's not. That's what I'm saying. I don't see I see some on Lanier every once in a while, but I don't really see. Y'all don't have them on Carter's and that, do you?
That
No,
Team
Carter-
Maggie's about the biggest one on the near.
Yeah, Carter's.
And that's for a good cause.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's
most everybody is
Y'all
one
fish
of,
it this year, didn't you?
No, we have fished it in the past, but we didn't fish it this year.
we finished third or fourth one year in it. I mean, it was pretty fun.
What's the biggest striker you've seen, or longest, if it's whatever, in a tournament situation that you see?
44 and something pounds.
44. Where was that at?
Cartwheel.
Clark's Hill. That's like we don't talk
Does the
about.
hill still have giant ones?
I think I went down there about 4 or 5
Right.
years ago.
A beer. I just want to beat Danny. Well, that's not too hard, buddy.
Yeah, the striper tournament thing, I know.
Hydrilla's taking it over, cutting oxygen down. But
Well,
I think they're trying to fix it.
We don't talk enough about Clark's Hill and Hartwell and stuff like that. We need to really talk about
Hartwell
it.
used to be, man, right there.
Hartwell
near-
used to be really
It
good,
was Hartwell there, Hartwell there, Hartwell
Right.
there. Burton, I mean, I think our state record is 63, 64 pounds. It come out right there. I mean,
Out of Burton.
yeah.
Well, that's a big old trout eater.
That's
Yeah.
trout eaters.
Trout eater.
No, that's cold
That's-
water.
Cold
At
water
60
and
at
trout.
63, that's an everything eater.
That exactly. It eats whatever it wants. But that's a big old fish.
Oh, yeah.
63 pounds. Now, how long ago was that caught?
What? Been both Irish Lord. I'm old. 10, 15 years ago.
Okay, but it ain't. I mean, it's recent enough that it wasn't like the Blue Ridge Muskie record of
1948.
1948. You
No,
know.
this was called
No.
in the 90s or 2000, somewhere around
There was one
there.
caught out of Raven. Last couple of years was 30 pounds.
I like okay, so definitely we're not the only ones getting the bad weather tonight. One of our viewers, Michael Temple's back on, guys, had to get the generator hooked up. So that must have been a heck of a thunderstorm that came over here earlier this evening. That was kind of messing us up.
That thing was wrong.
It was rolling.
It was
It
rolling.
sounded really good. Now, let's talk a little more on the specifics. Okay, how you're targeting the fish right now is down, going deep. All right. So, but if a client gets on your boat, what kind of tackle are you using? You know, the rod setups and stuff like that. What do you let these guys? I know we mentioned the line a little bit, but what do you let your clients use?
Yeah, I use 7.6, rods.
You got a specific brand you like?
I use Okuma
Okay,
rods.
Okay. All right.
Mike gets
Yeah, we just get just the standard striper edition Okuma rod mainly because they're reasonable. And if somebody drops it in the water, steps on it, breaks it, it won't kill me.
I
You know what I'm
understand.
saying?
I know exactly
Uh,
what you're saying.
But that's just
They're
standard.
workhorses.
the real is
I
what
love
you
fish
can't
those
skip
rods.
on.
Yeah.
You got to have, we like the Shimano. I mean, it
Line
can be,
counters are a game changer for us.
Yeah.
Because you got to get down to that depth.
Right.
Okay, I got you.
I mean, the counting 2, 4, 6, 8. Try doing that when you're dropping the 90 foot, all day long, up and down. I mean, the line counters, they help us a bunch. So a line counter reel, 7.6 foot rod, 15 pound main line, 12 pound leader. To me, that's just your standard summertime downline.
Jeremy ain't old enough to remember, but on the ambassadors, you used to count how many times the lever flipped. Know how deep you were.
I'm not as old as you are.
Hey,
man.
you're not.
But I'm just telling you, I mean, technology's come a long ways. It's like
Absolutely.
everything else. And I know on y'all especially.
Oh, it has. It's like we just went down to ICAST and it was just like amazing. Just the technology
Well,
today
and
is
the
just
problem
insane.
is once you have all of it, we're spoiled. I mean,
That's right.
Once you have all of it, you don't want to go back. You ain't gonna go back. If
Right.
anything, you're gonna find something else that's even better. That's just
How about your sonars and stuff? What do y'all use?
well.
Are you 2D guys? You use any of the active
Sniff 'em
target?
out.
Yeah. I mean, right now, and Mickey, he's still got the Lowrance, the HDS 12 or whatever. What really helps us the most is our sonar, side image, and structure scan, and our map.
Okay.
Our map. I mean, knowing the contours that we're on,
I run 4. I run my sonar, my down image, my side image, and my map. Okay.
Mhm.
Now, if we're on the fish and I want to, I can always hit sonar and see the book pictures of all the arches. But I just like to keep, for one, we all have reference points that we go by. It don't mean there's going to be a fish there every time, but it gives you somewhere to start to look on your map. The contour lines, like Jeremy said, if you catch a fish and you notice something on your contour here, And then you go to another place over there. A lot of times you can go over there and catch fish too. You know,
Yeah,
you
we pick
develop
up
patterns.
Yeah, we
you know.
pick up stuff like that all the time. So, and it's, a lot of times we're looking, trying to find stripers, trying to get on a bite. And I'm not really even looking at that map then.
No,
But if I get on something, I'll go back and look at it, and I'll try to find somewhere similar to that area or that contour. And
on Carter's especially, how nomadic are the stripers? How much do they actually move?
oh Lord,
Oh, man.
constantly, man.
Constantly.
I tell
So
everybody,
you have a good spot, but they might not
You
be.
can't-
They move that much.
Absolutely.
you can't spot fish for stripers.
Okay.
You're
all right.
gonna you're gonna strike out
Not
more than
now.
you're gonna catch.
not now. Now, used to back in the day, it was different, Mickey. I mean, we would set in the same 1 or 2, 3 locations. Everybody would, and everybody would catch fish, but it's not like that anymore. I mean, we got on school the other day and had a triple, caught 3 at one time, and after it was all over with, I hurried up and got baits back out. Nothing. We looked around there, 30 minutes, gone. Nowhere to be.
I got on them coming to him. You know, he called me and said, "Come on." And I got on them coming to him before I get my rod done. They're gone. And me and Jeremy both there looking within 200 or 300 yards. Can't find them.
And
nowhere.
we've tried everything. We've tried the stuff that the guys do in there with the thumping. The beating on the bottom
It
of the
works
boat.
at times.
It works at times, but those guys a lot of times do it to keep them fish on the boat, keep them fired up. It don't work at Carter's like it does other places.
This is kind of a funny story. Josh and I were fishing over here at Hickory Log, one of the local electric reservoirs. It was really tough, and I'm not gonna lie to you. God is my witness. I said, "Be on the bottom of the boat like them backwoods guys do." I swear to you, I said, just kick the boat, do something. and we
You're
started
not
laughing
doing
and all
over
that.
there or Nottely, you're not catching fish consistent.
Yeah, but I did.
It
I
works
started
on them
laughing.
two lakes.
Well,
I
I got a
thought you
story on the thumping. I got smoked one time
Explain to
at
everybody.
Lanier by Doug Youngblood.
Yeah, explain.
And I'm sitting there trying to figure out what he's doing.
Yeah.
And the only thing I know is I hear him.
All you can hear is,
That's it.
and you're like, "What is that?"
I'm marking fish, and I ain't got nothing going on. And he's marking fish, I'm sure, and he's got rods down there, and it's because he's got his pool stick out.
and he's hitting that
And
bottom.
all the old timers like Mickey, they're the pool stick, and everything. They use the pool stick. So
Yeah, and I remember.
now they have a machine that
That's
does
right.
it for you.
Yeah, I remember you talked about that the last time.
I'm trying to upgrade.
I finally
Fun
got
out of it.
Yeah.
It ain't the same sound. I'll tell you that right now.
the machine is not the same sound as the pool.
Well, the one thing I figured out with my boat on that is certain places you hit on the boat, it sounds different.
I like the hollow spot. If you got like your gunnel that runs up where all your wires are, like on our skills, that's about the only hollow spot that we have.
Right.
My George Caldwell, he got a boat. I mean, it's the best thumping boat I've ever seen in my life. I mean, it is the sound or something, but I can't get my boat to duplicate that.
Explain to somebody that might be listening to this, a later date that has no idea what the hell we're talking about when you say thumping. What are you trying to mimic by making that noise?
Well, I don't know. Some people say that that it will mimic fish feeding on bait fish, which will attract fish if they're anywhere in the area. A lot of people say that. I've heard some people say that these fish, they come from the hatcheries, and I've heard people say that they have feeders at the hatcheries where they feed the fish, and I've heard people say that the feed will get caught on one side of the feeder. Somebody have to go out there and beat on it, and the feed will fall down in there and go out, and then fish get trained to that. I've heard
That's
people say that.
Yeah.
I've heard people say
I've
that.
heard that one too.
You've heard that one?
Yeah, so
Actually,
everybody has different theories. My thing is this: if you start beating on the boat and rods start going off, keep beating on the boat. You know what I mean? I don't care
That's
what
hard.
it does.
I mean,
If
as
it
an
works,
old
do it.
timer, you like me. Daddy, you get the boat, Daddy, shh, you're gonna scare them away.
That's exactly true.
Don't do that. You're gonna mess them up. If you drop something lowered for a bid,
Oh my God,
That's the
that
hardest
is
thing,
true.
but it works, y'all. I mean, old timers,
He was.
Old dog can learn new tricks every now and then.
My grandfather had this old trucker hat that had that big old knob on the top.
I remember.
So I don't know how many times I got popped with that thing because I make noise in an aluminum boat. You gonna scare every fish in the lake.
Yeah, I mean, hey, if I got a bunch of kids that won't be quiet,
It is what it is.
they
at
need
that
to be
point.
they need to be quiet because we can use it for our advantage or whatever.
Right.
I mean,
What me and Jeremy trying to tell you, I mean, it does work at times, but I've actually had screws underneath my fish and they're not biting. You go thumping and then they're gone. And then you can't get back on.
Yeah, so Georgia boy, the old fisherman over in South Carolina thumps the boat in just about all of his videos. He catches fish, is all I know.
It works.
Yeah,
I'm not
There's too
denying
much to it to.
Lanier
There's
is
one of the
not
guys on Lanier that I've heard of. I don't know if it's Blair or maybe Clay Cunningham. Pulled up somewhere and his kids got out to go swimming, and the fish showed up. I think sometimes they
I
just
don't
get
know.
get curious
they're
about the
curious
sound.
of the
There's a
noise.
lake in Texas. Y'all, I can't think the name of it. Y'all know what it's
Texoma.
called.
Is it Texoma?
They've actually got trolling motors now that are bent. They bend the shaft, okay? And they got them sitting there like at the edge of the water. You know how you take your trolling motor up and you forgot to turn it off and it's sitting there throwing that water?
Yeah.
They've actually got these on their boat along with the thump trying to catch the
I've
strike.
heard of people taking a boat paddle
Yeah.
and beating on the
Well,
surface.
this
to make
all,
it sound
y'all,
like,
this is nothing
They're
new.
busting bait.
Yeah.
You do your history and look how these people in other parts of the country, I mean, they wasn't as fortunate to have hook lines and stuff like that, And I watched Natural River Effort or something. They was actually taking palm limbs or something and beating on top of the water, and the fish would swim up and they club them or spear them or whatever,
They,
So this is
they
nothing
drive
new.
them into the trap.
I've
seen that.
History always repeats.
I just think
itself.
it's completely different than what I've never seen a bass guy on a bass boat out there beating on
No.
Well, listen, I'm telling you, I tried it Saturday.
Well,
It didn't work. No, hell no. I wish it
It hasn't worked.
hasn't
Yet.
worked yet. So, like Tracy Coker in the comment section, I've heard people cranking the motor in a quick circle.
oh yeah,
To
yeah.
kind of get the
Yep.
fish right. I did. I honestly did. I told Josh we had gotten a bite forever. And I'm like,
Look, if it ain't
What were they
working, and you would
backwards
try
doing?
something, try it. You're not
Yeah.
hurting nothing.
But
But don't mess up when something else is
You know,
working.
you know,
what
how
I'm saying?
many times
Exactly.
I've been fishing an area and just say, all right, we're giving up on it, we're going somewhere
You
else. And I
crank the
my
motor up.
and I look down, there they are.
Well, I've been on Nottely.
So happy to see you go.
Yeah, I picked it, and then I'm scrambling trying to get them back out.
There
But
are
I picked
times,
up on that.
y'all.
I'm like, I'll just leave my motor running.
I'm telling you, these fish
it's not
get
efficient,
educated.
but
Uh,
what?
When
Yeah.
it used to be on there, you ride around, you look for the big school, you find the big school, cut the motor off, drop the motor, drop the thing down. All right? You try to get on them fish, they're gone. You know what I'm saying? So it's
Sometimes.
nothing new. A lot of times, people are leaving their motors on island, especially with new 4-strokes now. I mean, I was a 2-stroke guy for years, but now that I got a 4-stroke, man, you can actually hear yourself think.
That's
You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
And that motor, when you're fishing 100 foot of water, I don't know how much they're going to be able to hear down there. I will tell you this: if you're on 25 or 30 foot bottom on Carters, don't thump.
So you only do it pretty much when they're really, really deep.
yeah, 60 footer deeper.
Yeah.
Okay.
I just don't think it works well in shallow water.
Well, we
Now,
were
not
sitting
leave a
about
different
10,
thing.
so maybe that's what it was.
I mean, I'm not gonna say it won't work because there's lakes that don't have the deep water like we do, and they make it work. Like they talk about South Carolina or Texoma. But here's the thing: these fish, they're all Texoma's not, but most of these lakes they're all stock fish, and they're not all coming from the same hatcheries. They're coming from different places. So.
I was desperate, but I thought about you guys. I told you, I said, kick the boat. Just start kicking the boat.
Yeah.
We was about ready to do the bull durham where we were going to get the bucket of chicken and sacrifice chicken or something. We just could not get a bite. We were
promise you.
desperate.
At one point in time,
It
when
was
you're
bad.
not catching fish, you got to try something different.
You do, though. We tried. It didn't
Oh,
work
yeah.
that day. It was awful. But I always find, every type of angler, whether it be a trout guy, crappie guy, bass guy, striper guy, they've all got these little tricks, little tricks. You fish rivers a lot. Is there anything like that, Paul, that you do in a river that, is it even possible?
That I would say is weird.
Yeah. You experienced anybody doing anything like that?
Nothing too crazy. I think the river gets weird. I think when you really figure it out and you hit the right button and you got it, and you start to be able to call your shot. There.
That's the weird part. Yeah.
There he is. I will say I like to go up a size in the river. I'll go big.
Go bigger and stuff
Well,
like that.
we're saying this. Look, y'all.
When
There's no
a lot of guys like to go small.
Do you know Todd Sanford? Do you?
Yeah, well,
When you-
When Mr. Sanford reached in, it's hard for me to believe Mickey has ever been quiet.
I've been quiet.
He's doing a lot better tonight, but I mean, yeah, no,
He's
He's like to burst.
we enjoy it though. We enjoy it. We have gotten a little bit more out of Jeremy, and that's why I put him in the hot seat tonight like that, so we could get it in. But still, I mean, Mickey's passionate about fishing. You're passionate about fishing. Going into the fall, okay, we're getting ready to go into that fall transition and stuff like that. What changes are you guys going to do as far as how you approach chasing these stripers, if any at all?
Yeah, I mean, there's really nothing different we can do until we got to get cooler weather, and not just cooler weather, but it's got to be enough in a longer period of time so that the water temp will start.
There's a reason they call it dog days. The old timers call it.
Oh, absolutely.
And,
I used that comment today.
and, hey, that turnover you talk about, that's probably the toughest time. The only advice I can give anybody during a turnover, I don't care what lake it is find moving water, find current. If you go up in the rivers or you find somewhere where there's current, there's less likely that water is not going to be affected by the turnover like it would in other places.
Ryan's behind the board giving the thumbs up.
So,
the thumbs up on that.
Yeah.
We did yesterday.
Yeah.
Look, y'all. Get back to the very first thing we started talking about. These fish prefer the best water possible. Okay.
Yep.
All right. So let's say you go up the river, or you go in the lake, and you find one creek, and there's going to be one on every lake that either a little cooler or a little hotter. And like during the fall, as it starts cooling down, I believe the fish are going to be in that cooler water. They're going to find, and if you can find a water break where that temperature is different, there's where your fish are going to be. You understand what I'm saying?
Absolutely. The guest
The problem with Carter's is there's always cooler water there. It's just, and the fish are going to be where the bait's at.
Yeah.
But I'm marking schools of herring right now at 90, 80, 90, 100 foot deep.
I just find that crazy.
Oh, bro, you ain't seen.
Well, I don't get on Carter's
You
enough.
come
That's
up
what I'm
there this winter and get in a boat when you can drive for 50 to 100 yards and the green black's out, and it's just thick. I mean,
Nothing but
Jeremy can tell you nothing but bait. I mean,
We do. I can tell you, fishing with Ryan and some other guys, especially around his shop. We went into a creek one time, and he actually said there was bait everywhere. He goes, he pulled up a trolling motor, and I didn't understand why. I'm like, what? There's bait here. He goes, there's too much bait. So I imagine, do you ever run into that situation?
every day, not every day, but
Too
a lot
much
of
bait
times
right
during
here.
the spring.
I've even had customers on my boat ask me, what's the difference in our bait and all these other baits?
Nothing.
Well, nothing except for the fact that our baits can't run but so far. So if a school of fish comes through there feeding and all that bait busts up and starts moving around, our bait's going to be still set.
So at that point, and that might be a difference with
But-
live bait.
But here's my thing is, if I'm kind of like him. I mean, if I see all that bait, if there's fish around, I'll fish it. But if they come through a few times and they don't hit my bait after they've come through, they probably already failed.
I'm gonna tell you what I
Pull up,
figured out.
move on.
Yeah.
Most of the time, when you got them big schools like that, the fish are not gonna be in them big schools. But what I like to do is, if I find a big congregation of schools, I'll run around that bait. And
On
them
the
fish,
outside.
on the outside, because them fish, if that bait's bunched up like that, there's a reason it's bunched up. It's either water quality or something that's right there in that nutrient, or them fish is laying around it like piranha.
I'm gonna tell you something else.
And
And
too.
they're staying tight.
Sometimes
Not-
don't fish near the bait, just fish off of it.
I'm gonna tell you something else. Too. Not all these fish feed on
No,
bait this time of year. We've been catching stripers for the last
crawdads,
couple of years, spitting up crawfish.
Interesting.
the rockfish.
Well,
That's where crawdads are.
yeah, and that's what I've heard. The saltwater guys refer to them as rockfish a lot more than guys. in the
It's
lakes.
just for us, I guess it's more convenient for us. It's easier for us to throw a net and catch bait than it is for us to go find crawfish.
Go find
Yeah,
crawfish. Right?
and I
We're
know-
not in Louisiana.
I've never
so-
tried
That's right. Ain't a
but
lot like that.
I've heard people that's tried it and hadn't caught nothing. You know,
I don't even know how you would rig a live crawfish really
Well,
Or a striper.
to fish for a striper 90 foot deep.
I don't know how many times.
I've heard people say that the crawfish won't go that deep. Well, maybe they're not, but those fish, they're going up
They're
in
eating them
this,
somewhere.
they're running
I
up
don't
in
know
those
if they
spring
run
heads
into
or
the
something
shallows and eat them, but I
at
literally,
night or something.
y'all, and Jeremy can attest to this. We've literally caught fish. It not throw up one, but 3 or 4.
Yeah.
And there'll be 2 of them still alive. When
So,
you, and it's
fresh
still
fish.
about our
So-
bait. So when we get him up, and a lot of times during this time of year, you know, they'll throw up, and they've actually spit live crawfish out in my boat. That's,
Seriously.
I promise you, God is my witness.
Well, it's interesting. The only time I've ever actually went striper fishing was on the Coosa River on a guided trip, and he threw cut bait on the bottom. And my mindset, of course, not being very experienced, was like I would think striper, live bait, kind of stuff like that. He goes, no, striper uses its sense of smell
Sometimes.
just as much as anything. But he
I've caught them
would
on
throw-
chicken livers.
and that's what they were catching them.
We mentioned that last week.
We did mention it
We were
last
talking
week.
about hybrids and stripers and
Hybrids and stripers and chicken livers came up, which I was fascinated by. Makes for a great lunch.
Oh,
That's what I had
they
today.
find food just fine in like chocolate milk water.
And
They,
they use their
without,
other senses
without their
and stuff.
sight,
The
they are
whitefish-
still very effective.
The whitefish, I don't, over my years of experience, I don't think they like the dirty, stained, bad water. I don't know what it is
But
about it,
what
but
he's
you can
saying-
find the break.
But what he's saying is,
Especially the river.
there's circumstances where maybe they have no choice but to be.
Well, yeah, like,
they're still
not
going
this
to
year,
eat.
but the last 2 years in the
Yeah.
spring for
They're still
us.
going to eat.
Oh, yeah, they got
That's-
to eat.
I mean,
Well,
like I
the
said-
Coosa River gets really muddy. It's a very stained out there with Etowah. And I've never got over
The Ustinula.
the Oostanula.
I have
I'm gonna
caught-
hope that's what it is.
It's,
I
it's
have-
close. It's
I
close
have
as I
caught
can get.
stripers at Carter's Lake on cut bait.
It works.
And here's an interesting thing with this guy. So he would take a herring or gizzard shad or whatever he was using. He would cut the head off, throw it away, cut the tail off, throw it away, and then he would slice it, and it had to have guts in it, and he would throw it out. Yeah, we talked about this last week. If that pole never got bit, he said the guts were gone. He'd reel it up. Sure enough, the meat would be there and the guts would be gone.
Yeah, see, I started out live bait fishing, and that's just been my thing and what I've done. I don't have the experience with cut bait that some other people do. I've done it because there's been times where I've done everything else I know to do.
We're,
so
we're
let's
gonna
try
put
it.
a shout out to our bait before we buy our gizzard. Shane Foster is
Uh-huh.
probably, in my opinion, Shane don't let your head swell, but he's probably the best, cut bait person I've ever seen.
And he's taught me a lot about it too,
Oh.
but it's just I don't know how to say it, but when you're used to doing certain things, it's hard to.
I can't stand it.
Well,
You know,
Carter's is
I
a
mean-
hard place to cut bait. It is. It's a hard place to cut bait.
Yeah.
There's so many trees. There's so deep water. There's some places up the river, where you can anchor up and cut bait.
Let me ask you guys this. If you ever, you fish your herring and stuff or whatever, do you ever fish with brim?
Oh, yeah. Nottely.
Oh, Nottely with brim, but what about on Carter's?
Yeah.
Yeah,
caught 'em on
And,
Carter.
I have,
and if you do, why do you make the switch to the brim as opposed to your normal bait?
Okay, that is probably a seasonal thing.
Okay, all right.
When I grew up farm pond fishing, lake fishing. First full moon in May, most of the time the brim went on bed and we go over and load boats. And I think during them times, when them brim were shallow and they're going on bed, and stripers are,
Yeah.
just like the bass and everything else. That's an easy meal.
I think when the
Come
fish
through.
are when they're feeding on big bait, that'd be the time to put a brim out there.
Yeah.
We're just trying to get that big
Bluegill,
profile.
big gizzard, something to draw their
Yeah.
attention.
But 75% of the time, though, these fish in these lakes seems like have trended more towards feeding on the herring than they do the shad
Yeah.
or the bigger stuff. And that's
Right.
just, there is certain times of year where the fish will feed on the bigger bait, but I'm just saying the majority of the time it's herring, and it's been that
They
way.
got that taste for it.
Yeah, that's just what they're keyed in on. Now,
Before Jeremy time, there was no herring.
There was no
We
herring.
had threadfin and gizzard shad. And I told y'all before, I never had to go down between 40 feet foot, never fished it.
Right.
And then when the Elwise got introduced, it's a different world,
I think that's on every lake that once the herring or that type of bait gets introduced.
Lanier's not the lake that it is, and I mean there's a lot of things like Mickey's talking about the gill mags and all, but I think it's it's got a lot of it's the herring too. It's a combination. These
So
lakes.
you think on Lanier the herring has hurt the striper?
I ain't gonna say it's hurt it, but it's changed it.
Changed it.
Changed it. for
Changed
sure.
it. Okay. All right.
I ain't gonna
Changed
say
it.
it's hurt it, but it's
But
changed.
changed. Okay, that's a good way to say it.
And anybody that fished as long as I have for stripers over there or longer, you used to go in Flat Creek. And, we've had night tournaments several times on there. And you go put out your hide and float. And I mean, you could have walked across the blue back in Flat Creek. I mean, literally, y'all, I'm talking
I can believe
about.
that.
I've seen that.
I mean,
It
it's
is-
like
it is wild.
rain. And I mean, I don't know if I live in LJ now, and I go down there and fish pleasure and stuff like that, but I don't fish tournaments or nothing like that anymore down there. But I doubt you could go down there and do that now. But that was any given time, most any time. If you wanted bait, you went to Flat Creek or some of these creeks, and I mean, it was always there. Bayless,
It's still humping pretty good.
Yeah, they're still.
But
they're still
literally,
there.
brother, I'm talking about you put out your light and they're shooting out the water.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Saw that this year.
Yeah, it's crazy. So, how much night fishing do you guys do?
Not a whole lot.
Not a
I
whole lot.
like it, but it's hard to get somebody out there at that time of
And
night.
that's the main reason why I don't do a whole lot is because 9 times out of 10, my people who are paying me would rather go during the daylight, which is it's easier to fish in the daylight.
I'm telling you, at certain times, these fish develop patterns. If they're not feeding, of course the back pump messes us up, and it's hard to get the fish feed times and stuff like that. But when we fish when they're regular, I mean, there's been times I'd set my clock, wake up, go down there, fish for 3 or 4 hours, wire the fish out, and then go home. You know what I'm saying? I mean, because that's when they was feeding. If you want to catch fish, that's when you're going to go.
When you can go Carter's in the springtime, it changes every year depending on the weather. But if you can go out there at night and you hear bait flipping up on the bank and you hear fish rolling and stuff, that's when you need to be fishing at night, throwing the plugs and stuff like that. But as far
Well,
as
they're the same thing.
and I
On the
mean,
long gates and stuff,
yeah, it's just with our back pump, it's Carter's come up 4 foot overnight and there's a tree floating out in the middle of the lake.
That yes.
And I gotta have my boat to make a living. So I don't really want to take the chance of running across that lake at night.
With all the debris and all that. I noticed how dirty that when we fished the re-reg lake.
It can be clean. It can be clean
It was
one day.
really dirty.
It can be clean one day, because they've sucked it down.
Yes.
And then you go back there the next morning, it's come up however many feet, and it's pulled stuff off the
Well,
bank.
It has, and that's what I
Y'all
noticed.
said y'all put in that dog when y'all went to Carter's.
We did.
Did you see the
No, we did.
fishing platform?
We didn't put it at the dam. We put it at the
Put it
dam.
dam
I'm
side.
sorry.
Well, anyway, they got a fishing platform, and most of the time, when the lake's normal, it's 6 feet, 4 to 6 feet from the wall. They had a concrete wall, got a fence and things. I mean, when they back pump at times, we've seen that thing almost over the fence.
Really?
And I mean, what's that? Maybe 8 foot
Yeah.
at one time? I mean, I don't know.
They started pumping during that re-reg tournament that we were on, and the lake actually had dropped about 2 feet in about, I don't know, it didn't take
Oh, I
long.
know people's been stuck down there.
Oh, yeah.
It did not take very long. And
That's a shallow deal anyway, so it don't
It
take much
is.
to drain.
it is, so it did. So you mentioned if you go out there in the spring, you hear the shad up and all that's the time to throw the plugs. Do you guys ever do any of that type of fishing trip as far as
I have done some. If I've got some people that want to do
that
it.
want to do it, that want to go artificial?
The last time I did it though, we did good for about 3 hours, and then everybody was taking a nap.
Because it's a lot of work.
Yeah, and I'm like, you gotta. I mean, if you want to catch fish at night that time of year, you gotta keep that plug up on the bank. And I mean, if you're gonna, it ain't like live bait fishing where you can, kick back and take a snooze if you want to. I mean, it's more like what you do.
We don't
What
have
y'all
the
do. Y'all, you got to get up there and you
You
got to
gotta
work.
We don't have the points and the flats, like Lanier or Nottely does. I mean, because because our lakes are deep. So I wouldn't suggest nobody. I mean, you might go up there and catch some occasionally doing that, and they, the fish do feed, but we don't have the long rocky points and the long red clay banks like Lanier and Nottely got, where it can actually be beneficiary to do a lot.
Right.
I believe you probably go up there and do it some, but you wouldn't be consistent.
Yeah, it's only a 2 or 3 week out of the year thing.
You ever do it during the daytime?
Well, yeah.
Well, I mean, man, I'm gonna be honest with you. Back in the day, before these herring got in there, it was nothing to be going across the lake and just see a school of fish come up busting all over the surface. You could run over there with spook, whatever, but it's just not like that anymore. I mean, even in the time of year where they should be up, there's thread fins up on the surface, and there ain't no fish feeding on it. They're down there still feeding on. I mean, because even in the springtime, when the sun comes up, the herring go deeper. I'm not saying they're going to be 80.
It's been a long time since we've had a topwater bite. I mean, I've seen it.
A good topwater bite.
What I'm talking about, where you see scoop like Lanier, I've been on Lanier, and you see football fields of bait coming out and fish underneath the bottom.
I've caught 2 or 3 in one day, maybe on topwater, right place, right time kind of thing, but then you go back out there for.
You better off putting your planning boards on and just pulling.
Is that what y'all would say y'all do 90% of the time, planter boards?
There's a fall and a winter and spring.
Yeah, and even in the winter, I'm going to be honest with you, winter time at Carter's,
Yeah,
it's not the pulling the trout on the balloons and stuff like it used to be. I mean, we catch a lot of fish in the wintertime on downlines. Them fish will be deeper in the wintertime. They're not up shallow like they used to be. I mean, It's just changed. It's different,
It's different. You've seen the lake change over that. I know the last time you were here, and it's always a conversation with you guys about the alewives and stuff like that. Since the last time you guys have been on, opinion changed about it or gotten worse?
No, it's. I mean, I'm not gonna say it's gotten worse that I've seen since we've been on here last. It's definitely not any better.
In the summertime, like when we put our lights out, you draw all the bait, you'll get thick at times. But in the summertime, the bait tends to disperse a little more and go deeper, and they may get in the trees and high, so we don't have such a problem. But there's still the problem when you get on bait. And I mean, Jeremy,
the problem I feel like is this with the bait, Mickey, is there's so much bait in there that those fish can feed anytime, but for 30 minutes.
Yeah.
I mean, and be done. Be done. That window can be so small out there on Carter's.
A week and a half ago, I probably marked a school that probably had 80 fish in it. And I mean, you used to never do that on Carter's. Never. I always fished the wolf packs, the 5, 6.
Used
8,
to.
9.
We marked less fish, but caught more.
Yep. And now you get on them big schools, and I tell Jeremy, I said, I've tried everything. I mean, I've thumped, I've dropped baits, different baits, tried hooking them through the tails, trying to do this, trying to do that. Nothing. And then all of a sudden they're gone. You can't get back on them. I don't understand why you get on that on Lanier, every rod in the boat's going off. You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
I don't understand unless they're already full or something like that.
I mean,
they're just not eating.
Yeah,
I don't think it's our technique. I don't think it's our lines because we catch fish too much. I think it's just the way them fish are.
Well, when
I've
you
seen
get
it when they're just not having it.
Oh yeah, everywhere. That's anywhere.
They can be moody.
Oh yeah, anywhere.
But not that
you go.
many at one time. You understand what I'm saying? I mean,
I don't know. I've seen it like that. I've seen it like that at Nottely. I mean, we've been on some big schools at Nottely, and they just locked y'all, man. They wouldn't bite. I mean, it wouldn't matter.
Well, you catch one fish out of that school, and then they're gone.
One or two fish, and then it's like it spooks them. I've seen times where you catch a fish, it fire them all up, but it worked the other way around where you catch one or two, and they're gone. So, I mean, they're just like any other kind of fish. I mean, everybody thinks it's if you got live bait and a center console boat, it's a for sure thing you're gonna catch droppers. No,
And that's not
the case. I mean, especially certain times of the year they can be picky. Right now, our fishing's hit or miss. You could come up on one of those schools Mickey's talking about, and every rod in the boat go off today. Tomorrow, you may get on that school and stay on them for 30 minutes and never get a bite. That's just how the bite is, But you got to go the next day because you may catch them the next day where you didn't catch them today. So you just got to keep going.
Yeah. I know both of you guys got you got early morning trip, so I don't want to keep you any later than we have to be. For those listening that are interested in booking a trip with you guys, how can they get in touch with you?
They can look us up on our website. It's www.backwoodsfishingguide.com, and all our information, phone number, and everything is on the website. So just go to the website. We're on Facebook, Instagram, all that good stuff too. And we've turned all our social media stuff over to Mickey now. He's handling all that.
No,
Oh, okay, I got you.
He's pulling your leg.
Yeah.
I got
See, I
you.
get picked on.
I understand. Listen, they pick on me too. Got one more question that just popped up. How about the trolling bite on Carter's throughout the year?
Trolling as far as what?
Like, yeah, do you guys power troll a lot? Umbrellas,
Umbrella rigs,
liquor
yeah.
line,
Certain times
We don't
of
do it a
year,
lot.
It works a little bit.
We don't do
The
it a
problem
lot.
is, okay,
downriggers at all? Anything?
Yeah,
anything
you gotta
crazy
be
like
careful. You gotta
if
be
you
careful.
don't know Carter's Lake, don't troll.
You gonna look
Okay.
well.
Because
Gotcha.
you're going to be out a bunch of money.
Get-
I'm just going to be honest
Get
with
to
you.
know the lake and the area. Do a lot of riding and graphing, and learn where you're at, because I mean you can literally be pulling you be in 70 foot of water on a clean bottom, and you turn just a little bit the wrong way, and you can be coming out over the treetops and then hang everything you got, like on downriggers if you got.
Yeah.
So it's
To answer his question, yes, we have caught fish trolling.
for me. Here's the thing with trolling: if I see fish suspended at between 20 and 30 foot, and they won't hit a live bait, I'm on troll. It's not my favorite thing to do, but I'll do it if I have to do it to catch
The
fish. But
you like them generally a little higher.
you want to be seeing them suspended, because if you drop an umbrella rig to 50 foot at Carter's, you're gonna be hung up. You're gonna go through a lot of money.
Okay.
So I to me, it's a seasonal thing.
It's a season. I was going to say
It's a seasonal thing.
It's not a consistent bite year round. It's more of a
It's
seasonal.
not. It's not. Which that's with anything else. But it's not a.
Okay.
It's not. I don't think you're gonna catch them year round there
Yeah.
trolling.
Okay.
No.
All right. Well,
Right now they're too deep. I don't think they would come up to 30 foot.
hmm.
And like
Yeah.
You-
and
you-
you're taking a big risk with downriggers.
you
anywhere
taking a
that's
big
not
risk
timber.
with downriggers, because you turn the wrong way just a little
Yeah.
bit, and
I
it
mean,
drops out
you'll
over
tear
the
the whole
timber.
rigger off the side.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
you're going to be wiped out. I've seen people do it. I seen a guy come in wood ring one day. You know what I'm talking about? On the left hand side of wood ring, when the lake's up,
It's all trees.
it's
Every
all
bit of
trees.
it.
I'm talking,
Every
and
bit
I'm
of
not talking about trees that were cut. I'm talking about they're 5 foot under the water. Some of them.
Mm.
And he come in there on that left hand side of wood ring with 2 umbrella rigs out, and bam, he hung both of them, and I'm sure never got either one of them back. So it's if you know the area you're fishing, it's doable. We've caught them on umbrella rigs. We've caught big fish on umbrella rigs,
Okay.
and
That's not my cup of tea.
But not your cup of tea.
no, I can't get Mickey to do it, man, for nothing.
Well,
I
that's all
catch
right.
10
He's
fish.
confident in what he does, and you like that. So, going to give both of you the final word here. And we'll let Mickey finish up. So I'll let Jeremy start. Final word. Anything you might want to say about either your business?
I got
or
a
so-
question.
You got a question?
Is your beef with the umbrella rig that it takes the fight out of the fish?
No,
Really?
no. Look, y'all, I grew up and learned how to catch fish a certain way. That is my passion. Now, I'm not fool enough to believe that at certain times it may not work, but I am a live baiter. I
Okay.
love to get a shad with a net and put them in the tank and watch for that big
You
blow up.
like the process.
I like the
likes the
process.
process.
He's old school, man.
Old
I'm
school.
not. I mean, I'll drop a spoon. I'll do whatever I can. I've got umbrella rods that I bought through Jeremy. He's saying, hey, we got to do this during certain times of year, and I'll do it if I have to. But I just prefer to fish live bait.
Okay. All right. Anything else you want to add?
I don't know, man.
Oh, man.
Pretty
This is your
good.
chance. This is your time.
This is your time. I mean, pretty good. I mean,
Yeah, I don't know, man. I appreciate you guys having us on here.
but, listen, we
we
like it every
appreciate
time
we
you
love
come.
we enjoy coming, and we think you guys do a great job at what y'all are doing. It's been a help to us. We've seen people run into people. Hey, we seen you guys on Fish North Georgia, so it kind of almost makes us feel like we're famous or something a little bit.
There
So,
you go. You are.
yeah,
You are.
Yeah,
So-
I guess so.
It's
I
pretty.
don't know about that.
And again, like I said, you don't realize the influence. Like, I'm serious. Saturday, I'm not lying. What would them Backwoods boys do right now? It's tough, and it was that thumping of the boat,
Yeah.
So it's
Well,
good. We enjoy you coming
Look,
down.
y'all, there's a reason that we fish. It's our passion. I'm going to tell you right now, if you get on my boat, I'm going to try to show you a good time.
Well,
And
I
Jeremy
believe
can
that.
tell you, I'm 100% wired for 220. I am
I can tell.
excited. You let the rods go off, and man, Rod's been in. I mean, I'm just like a kid in a toy store.
We've got
you know?
we got four of us that work together, and
Okay.
I'll say this: every one of us, our personality is different.
Yep.
We're all different, but we all have the same
Goal in
in the end, and that's to put people on fish, catch fish, make people happy. Whether it be somebody local or whether it be somebody from out of town, you know, we want everybody to have a good experience. But
Yeah.
you know, we've got Mickey that's like he said, he's wired, ready to go all the time. You know, Lynn's laid back. You know, it takes him a little while to warm up to you and everything. Russ, he's really laid back too. You know, but he'll freak out a little bit too. You know, he gets antsy sometimes too. But either way, we appreciate you guys having us, Danny.
Oh no,
and,
listen, I love it every time you guys come, and we got to get up there and fish with you guys.
Yeah.
I mean, I seriously
we'd
don't.
love
I've
you
never
think-
been on Carter's.
Never been there.
I've only
Never.
been on that one little
Never once.
thing. Yeah,
you know,
I've
you
never
get so
fished it.
many mixed emotions about Carter's.
Oh,
You
I
ask
have a
all the
love-hate-
locals up there, and they say,
love-hate
"I ain't going
relationship."
up there.
Oh, yeah.
That's the Dead Sea." And then you got some folks, you know, well, you know,
Well,
most
it's-
people for the other part, it's a hard. I believe I fished all of them, okay, and I've been a bunch of lakes. Carter's to me is the hardest lakes to fish around because of the inconsistency with the turnover.
Oh, he's talking about a comment right
Oh.
there. So it is. A lot of people have that view of Carter's.
Yeah. It's not developed very much up there, is it? Though?
It's
No,
not. No, it's a
thank the
beauty.
Lord.
It's beautiful.
If it ever does, you can ride it. It's too small of a lake.
It
Yeah.
is.
You know.
And we
See, I
saw
think
wild
that's
hogs
always cool.
last time we were up there too. Ryan and I were fishing. There was a group
No,
of
we've
hogs.
seen
on
bear,
there.
we've
Oh, I
seen
bet.
everything
It's
else.
still wild.
Seen deer swimming
Yeah.
the lake, bear
It's-
crossing the
So I
lake.
think that's
Still
cool
wild.
to me.
Coons.
Like Lanier is home for me, and it's boats and docks and whatever. It's neat to go to a lake that is
Different.
still a little wild.
Well,
Yes.
all the boys from there
You know.
come up there and they struggle at first. I mean, if you're a good striper fisherman, you're gonna catch fish eventually. You know.
Right. And I tell you this, people tell me that at night on Carter's it gets dark.
Oh yeah.
yeah.
Oh
They
yeah.
say
There's
Unless
no
it's a
lie.
full moon.
They say that's unless full
Full
moon. But they
moon's
say
the time to go.
that's about one of the darkest places they've ever
Nottely
been.
is the same way in certain spots.
Yeah.
But it ain't like Lanier, you know, where you got beacons and
Oh,
everything else.
yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
Dock lights and all that.
You
I
can
mean,
run Lanier really if you know what you're doing, just based upon the lights and
It's
all
yeah,
that.
it's
by
never so
itself.
dark that you're blind.
You know, it's like anything else. Carter's, the reason it with, you know, the core sign agreement, whoever, you know, that they're not going to put docks and stuff like that on the lake. I hope they always keep it because, you know, it cuts down with some of the boat traffic a lot,
Mhm.
I believe.
The silliness.
And the fish, you know, I mean, I ain't gonna lie to you, y'all. I used to never see nobody on the lake. Nobody. You know, I'm out there catching all these fish by myself, and I thought I had to, you know, everything. And then, you know, little by little, and Jeremy can tell you just since he's been in it.
And then I come along.
Right.
That's
Well,
what
then-
he's getting.
No,
at.
Yeah, roots it.
no. What happened is there was no social media. You know it.
I know exactly
I
what
mean,
you're talking
we
about.
didn't even have phones, bro. And now that everybody's got phones and social media and people posting pictures, I mean, it's just like everything else.
Yep.
I mean,
Yeah, and I don't. I think somebody made a comment about Facebook, but you know, that's why we don't post as much as I probably used to did when I first started out. But you know, we have a lot of people that, you know, if they don't know that we're catching fish, they ain't gonna call.
That's right.
You know, so
Yeah.
It's kind of you got to use
Cut
it.
both
I don't
ways.
I don't
Yes.
like posting sometimes, but sometimes if I got dates that need to be filled, I'm gonna post. I'm gonna post what we've caught.
Well, you're a business. You're running a business.
I'm
That's
running a
right.
business. I'm trying to stay booked. I'm trying to keep Mickey, Lynn, Russ booked up. So you know, I have to look at it, and you know, it's a business now versus the way I used to be when I was fun fishing. I was like Mickey. I had it by myself. I wanted to have everything by myself and everything. Now
Oh,
it is what it is. I
Yeah.
mean, you know.
yeah, you have to be careful, especially like on these little electric reservoir lakes. There's reasons why we don't post spots and certain because you'll burn them out. You'll burn them out. Little lakes
Absolutely.
can't handle that.
Yeah.
So, I love Carter's to get away from Lanier. 30 pounds in one day in the spring. Best 5 there. That's excellent like that. So
what do you say? 30?
That's a bag.
Look,
A 30-pound bag. He's talking about bass.
That's
maybe?
probably
fishing,
bass,
gotta
Oh,
be.
yeah.
well, that's
but
not that.
That's a
That's-
bag.
yeah, I mean that's
Bro,
doable.
You
That's
just
very
don't
doable.
know.
That's
Uh,
doable.
well,
Oh,
we- well,
you
we-
didn't
what we
know?
need to do is get up there and find out. So,
Well, we're
We'll have
fishing
to
live
get together.
bait now. Me and Jeremy not going to break out the stuff, but I mean, there's been days up there, y'all, when we've caught 10 or 15 spots. It's close to 4.5. I mean, every one of them. They're all look the same, and it
Yeah.
looks like their actual belly is about
Fit to burst.
just the pop.
Oh, I believe that. I believe that 100%. I've seen enough pictures up there. Well, with that, we're going to end this episode. Again, I want to thank Jeremy and Mickey, both of you guys. I
Thank
enjoy it
everybody.
I
Thank
enjoy
everybody
every
for the
time
support.
that you come down. Maybe you'll get a trip or two out of this, here people see, and we'll book a trip with you guys. Backwoods Fishing. Look them up on Facebook and their website like that. You've seen the guys here. You know they're passionate about it, and I think you will enjoy your time with them if you'll invest in it and go fishing with the guys and learn something about that. But again, we thank both you guys and Paul and Ryan and everybody. We will be back next week with another episode of the Livewell. Don't have plans on it yet, but we're gonna get them settled real quick.
We'll let you know.
We'll let you know. You guys have a great evening. Go Braves! I know they're down right now. Sorry, that's just the way it is. But hopefully we can beat them stinking Mets and all that. But if you're on the water this weekend, be safe and keep an eye out for the others and just enjoy your weekend and outdoors. And God bless you guys. We'll see you next week.